Ready for a Bible story? Me too. Today's story is Joseph's Dreams Come True, found in Genesis chapter 42. The great famine reached the land of Canaan also. Food became scarce and people were worried. What are we going to eat? They wondered. Jacob said to his sons, I've heard that there's corn in Egypt. Go there and buy food. The brothers left, but Benjamin did not go. Since he had lost Joseph, Jacob loved Benjamin best. Jacob was so afraid of losing Benjamin too that he would not let his youngest son go so far from home. More than 20 years had passed since the 10 older brothers had sold Joseph as a slave. The brothers had grown more thoughtful of each other. They were not even jealous because their father loved Benjamin best. How often they must have remembered the time that they sold Joseph. As the brothers traveled to Egypt, they saw new stretches of country. Eagerly, they watched for the first glimpses of Egypt. But Egypt did not look as they had expected. The fields were just as bare as those of Canaan. Soon they learned there was plenty of food here in spite of the famine. Great storehouses were filled with corn. Like everyone who wanted to buy food, they went to Joseph. Little did they dream that this man who sat on a throne and dressed like an Egyptian prince was their brother. In these 20 years, he had become a man. Everyone bowed before him just as if he were king. His 10 brothers bowed also. Joseph knew his brothers at once. When they bowed, he remembered his dreams. Now he knew those dreams had come true, and he understood why God had let him be sold into Egypt. But Joseph wanted to know whether his brothers had changed. So he pretended not to know them. He spoke like an Egyptian and pretended to be harsh and stern. Who are you? He demanded sternly. They replied, we are men of Canaan, and we are brothers. You are spies, he told them, and I know you have come to see the stricken condition of our country. You plan to bring an army against us. Indeed, we are not spies, they answered. We have come to buy food for ourselves and our families. Still, Joseph insisted they were spies. Again, they told him they were brothers, the son of one man. Is your father yet alive, he asked, and have you another brother? The brothers told him about their old father and the great love that he had for Benjamin. Now Joseph wondered whether they were kind to Benjamin. Did they care more for their father's happiness now than they did when they sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites? Joseph decided he must find out before he told them who he was. So he said, you must prove you are not spies. I will put 9 of you in prison and send the other back to Canaan. If he returns with your youngest brother, then I will believe that you are true men. Joseph had his brothers put in prison where he had spent several long years. He would wait to see if they were better men than they used to be. After 3 days, he sent for them and said, I fear God and want to do the right thing. If you are true men, you can prove it in this way. I will send 9 of you back to your old father with food and keep 1 of you in prison. You must bring back your younger brother or I will know you are spies. To each other they said, we are suffering now because of our sin. Now we know how terrified Joseph felt when we sold him. He pleaded with us, but we would not listen. Reuben, the oldest brother, and the one who planned to save Joseph's life, reminded them, I told you that you should not sin against the boy. You would not listen to me. By your sin, you have brought this trouble on us all. Joseph pretended not to know what they were saying, but he heard every word. His heart was touched. They were sorry for their sin. He turned his face away and cried for joy. Then he dried his tears and spoke to them again like an Egyptian. He took Simeon, the second oldest, tied him and put him back in prison. Then he ordered his servants, fill their sacks with corn, and put each man's money back into his sack. The heavy-hearted brothers started home. What would their father say? Joseph was lost to him. Simeon was a prisoner. Now Benjamin must go to Egypt or Simeon would be in prison forever. No wonder they were worried. At the end of the first day, they stopped to feed their animals. One brother opened his sack and found his bag of money with the corn. They were even more afraid when they saw the money. The stern ruler would think they had stolen the money. At last they reached home, tired and afraid. They told their father what had happened. "We cannot return unless we take Benjamin." "I could never let you take my youngest son," Jacob replied. "I no longer have Joseph or Simeon. I would die if something happened to Benjamin too." Then the brothers emptied their sack of food. When they found that each one's money had been replaced in the sack, they were more frightened than ever. Boy, Joseph is really working on his brothers, isn't he? Looking forward to the next story. Can't wait.